Hey, this is Ashley Fils-Aime. You're listening to my interview with Alain Gogoodman on gogoodman.com.au. Check it out.
Your earliest memory of comedy from when I've interviewed you on my show before is watching Eddie Murphy's Delirious at your sister's house.
Yes.
Why is that particular show such a popular starting point for comedians?
Because at the time, there was nothing like it. You know, at the time, especially in the African American market, there was only Richard Pryor and Bill Cosby, and that was about it. And Eddie was the next thing, just like, you know, the next Eddie currently is Kevin Hart. So there's always like a next thing going on. But before Richard Pryor and Eddie Murphy, Richard Pryor was the first one to actually make stand-up comedy as big as it was in the African American community. You know, there are a lot of comics who were doing it before him that were African American, but nobody hit as big as him. And then after Richard Pryor came out, Eddie Murphy came out. You know, so that's our generation comedian. You know, in the future there'll be people saying, "Oh man, my first comedy show was Kevin Hart." You know what I'm saying? So he's today's Kevin Hart. He was a Kevin Hart back then.
Were there similarities between Richard Pryor and Eddie Murphy?
Okay.
Or was it just for the fact that he was African American and that was a big relating point for you and for that community?
Well, it was a big relating point for me because at the time I didn't see it as an African American thing. I just saw this guy was, because my brother-in-law, like, he put it on. And I'm like, what is this? And he's like, oh, it's Eddie Murphy. I'm like, oh, I didn't even know he was a comedian. I thought he was just an actor. Then I saw it. I'm like, oh my goodness, this is the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life, and this is what I want to do. And that was it. I was like 15, 16 years old, man. And then he paved the way. Unfortunately, right now there's a lot of comedians coming out of the woodworks, and a lot of these comedians don't understand how to learn from some comedian. They take from the comedian instead. That's a very touchy subject, you know, a very touchy area, because, you know, you admire somebody, and the next thing you know, you become them, and that's unfair to yourself, because you don't give yourself a chance to become who you are, because you're too busy being. You have to learn how to watch what somebody else does without becoming them. You know, as a matter of fact, it took me probably 8 years before I saw 8 years in comedy before I watched my first Richard Pryor stand-up set. It took me a while because I didn't want to be like him, because everybody else was trying to be like him. So.
You started performing at age 18. How did you learn the structure of jokes and putting a routine together?
Oh man, my first set, I just got lucky. My first show was a competition actually, and I won. But I just got lucky, man. I know this now, but I didn't know this back then. People just like my energy, and they like my personality, and they like my animation. That's what saved me when I was first started out. My jokes were very animated. I don't know if they were that funny, but the way I did it was very, very animated, and that's what got me through. And then, I mean, to tell you the truth, I'm still learning the structure of writing a joke. It's just because there's different jokes. There's jokes that are stories, and there's jokes that are quick, you know. And there's jokes. It's like a buffet of different types of jokes that you do. So, you know, it has to sound right flowing out of your mouth before you actually perform it or put it on paper.
What do you prefer? Do you prefer the storytelling or do you prefer the one-liners?
That's a good question, because I just recently, and by recently I mean just the end of last year in December, or when I started doing maybe cruise ships maybe, but I just recently finished writing my first story joke. It's not really a story. It's the first joke that I've written, and it's about my life, like for the first time. It's taken me 20 years because everything is fabricated, but this is the first time I've actually brought something, because like I had so much on my mind about it, and I was able to get it out. And I finally understood what it meant for the healing process or the therapeutic process when you're on stage. You know, a lot of comedians have a lot of things they want to say and get off their chest, but they think that they have to be funny. You don't have to be funny. You just have to be entertaining. That's all.
When you started performing around America after growing up in Miami, who were some of the comedians that you were a fan of? You mentioned Eddie Murphy, Richard Pryor, but there were heaps going through the 80s. Did you have a handful that you were a fan of through TV or through seeing them on stage?
Oh, yeah, man. My favorite comedian, one of my favorite comedians who actually doesn't like me at all, his name is Kyle Grooms. He's a comic that I saw, and I'm like, man, I want to be just like that guy, man. He's just a really, really, really funny dude. He's not famous or anything, but in the scene, he's pretty, you know, respected. And I just try to emulate him. when I first started out. You know.
Why doesn't he like you?
Well, I beat him in a competition my second year, and he didn't like that, and I don't know what it was. He has not friended me on Facebook ever. He's never made any reach out to me, but he's made out. You know, he's friends with all my other friends, but me. It's kind of like, I don't know, man. I don't know why he doesn't like me. And then one time somebody compared him to me. They were saying, "Oh, Carl Grooms is like Ashley." And he was like, "Nah, man, I'm nothing like Ashley. Ashley, I'm nothing." And then like, you know, so he just never liked me. But I still like him. Still admire him as a comedian. You know, I mean, hey, I have no beef with him.
And who are some of the others?
Tommy Davidson from A Living Color. Tommy Davidson is another one of my favorite comedians. Another one, currently the one that I'm actually really enjoying is a guy named Reginald D. Hunter, who's an African-American comedian living in London. And it's kind of like what I'm doing here. I'm an African-American comedian, but I'm living in Australia, except where he started out comedy in London. I came here already established as a comedian, as a personal comedian. You know, not a famous comedian, but established as a comedian, so.
When I've spoken to you previously, you mentioned Steve Allen, who was the original host of The Tonight Show. I thought I recognised that name. And his book, How to Do Stand-Up Comedy. What was your reaction to seeing every point of your chosen career written on paper?
I just knew I was doing the right thing, man. Because here's the thing. I've never read any books in my life up until that moment. I'm like, I want to know how to do stand-up comedy. I don't have any friends that do it. And at the time, when I was growing up, and we weren't allowed to watch television during the week. We couldn't watch it on Saturday night and Sunday. Saturday night and Sunday only. So television had no way of. I didn't even know what stand-up comedy was. To tell the truth, like I've seen like little bits and pieces here and there when but I've never watched a full stand-up set aside from the one that my brother-in-law showed me. But that was years before. What was the question again?
What was it like? What was your reaction to seeing every point of stand-up comedy written on paper?
I knew I was doing the right thing. It's one of those things where like every year in class, I set out to be the funniest person because everybody kept telling me I was funny. You hear it in the kindergarten, you hear it in the first grade, you hear it in the second grade. So by the time you catch on to it, you think that's your role. That's what your role is. And I was always the most creative one in the classroom. Whenever we had projects, I was always the most creative. I've always felt myself to be the most creative person in the room, always. Not the smartest person, but definitely the most creative person. Then when I got into comedy, I think I was the most creative person in comedy when I first started. You know, that was because. And then when I saw it, when I read that book, I'm like, I knew this already. I knew that already. I knew this already. Or who would do that? Of course you wouldn't do that. And I knew this already. Like all those points that he brought out, I'm like, yeah, this is you should naturally know. That's when I knew I had something. I wasn't necessarily a fish out of water. I'm like, I got this.
So, because you weren't a big reader before you got your hands on that book, what drew you to reading that particular book?
Because I want to learn how to do it. I'm like, I want to do stand-up comedy. I just don't know how to. But I want to do it. So, what better way to do it than to get a book? So I went to the library. I got like 4 or 5 books on how to do stand-up. There's one book called Stand-up Comedy by a comedian called Richard Belzer. If you ever get that book, burn it. What it is, this is a book that all comedians have they're still haunted by the book because it's a book called How to Stand Up Comedy, and you read the whole thing, but you know what it is? It's a picture book, and what he's doing is he's taking the piss out of you, right? And he has his hands up like, yeah, do comedy, yeah, just get on the mic, grab a microphone, tell a joke, but you read the whole thing, and as an ignorant comedian, you think there's something in here, but it's not until you get to the end of the book you realize this guy is just taking the piss out of you. There's nothing about that's going to be a comedian. It's just pictures of him and then one line on the bottom. So it's called. And every comedian who understands that I'm talking about, we've all been traumatized by that book. We're all traumatized. I'm talking legends like I see, like like Jeff Ross and all those big guys. They've all been traumatized by that book. He got us all. So
where's that guy now? The guy that wrote that book?
He's actually doing pretty well. He's doing comedy. He had a run on L.A. Law and Order. He was on there for a while. He played one of the detectives. He's still doing it.
In your early years, you encountered some racism when trying to get on stage at various clubs in LA. Did this surprise you, or did you know it was happening?
It didn't surprise me. Because you live your life encountering racism. It's just you encounter racism. And it's like I encounter it today. Not today as we speak, right now, but today, as in today's time, all the time, man. You know, you walk into a store, people follow you, they give you an extra look. You walk into a bank, especially when you walk into a bank, they look you up and down. Those are things that I'm used to, man. It's just, especially here in Australia, they're not used to seeing a black person that often, I don't think, because like when I walk into a place, they look at me and like, okay, it's like they're trying to figure me out. I'm just there just to, you know, like I walked into this bank the other day and I wanted to get a cashier's check, and they wouldn't give it to me, and I walked out. I walked into a coffee house where it said it's called Coffee House, and I ordered a coffee, and they told me they didn't sell coffee.
Wow.
This was here, so it's like in comedy, it's just the same exact thing. You know, you experience racism. There are people who play favorites, you know, and because it's like, you know, because you're black, they feel like you shouldn't have as much as you do have, and they just subconsciously just try to keep you at a certain distance. You know, they don't want you to succeed in a sense. That's just the way it is.
So
not all of them, but there's some out there who are in positions of power who just won't help you because you don't look like them.
So comedy-wise, did you feel like you had to try and win the crowd over, like they already had an opinion of you before you opened your mouth on stage?
No, the crowd was very unbiased. The crowd, I was always a class clown, so to me it was just like second nature. You know, I've already won them over by the time I touched the microphone. Because when I come out, I wave, I smile, and then, you know, it's just the industry. The people that run the industry, they're the ones who are ruining comedy. They're the ones who are causing the mayhem. And it just bothers me every time where people who've never written a joke before can dictate where you go on stage and how you tell your jokes. That's just frustrating for me. And then now we live in a PC time, man, and PC is just really, really taking. It's killing comedy.
So how do you work with criticism?
Man, I try to ignore it, but like, you know, sometimes
does it ever affect your routine?
Yes, it does. I do a joke where I say I talk about 72 virgins, and you know it's a common premise, and I say, hey man, forget 72 virgins, give me 72 hoes, and then I've gotten letters, and people telling me you can't say hoes, and you can't, you know, all this and that, and it's actually ruined my enthusiasm when I do that joke here. So I do it like when I go to a bar and there's comics before me talking about things that are way worse than that. I'll do the 72 version show. But when I'm in a place I'm getting paid to do it, or a corporate show, I just leave that joke out just in case because I'm getting paid to do it. And all it takes is that one person to complain, and next thing you know, it's just, you know, you just have to let it go. I mean, what gives me soothing, healing, whatever you want to call it, is when I watch other comedians talk about people complain about them, and these guys are professionals, are paid, they're millionaires, and they just shrug it off. I mean, they laugh about it, you know. And I'm like, yeah, you know what? That's what I'm going to do too. I'm just going to laugh about it, because at the end of the day, those people don't really make the majority, you know. If the majority is complaining, then yeah, but it's like it's not even it's the minority that's complaining every once in a while, and you know. So I don't care. It doesn't bother me. It bothers me when they mention my name a little bit.
After you did the club scene in America for a few years, you started touring with Pablo Francisco. How big was he at the time, and how did that friendship start?
Pablo was already big when I met him. He was already selling out every show. He's the only comedian I've ever worked with that's literally sold out every show. Every show. I mean, I've toured him for 11 years, and every show was a sellout. You just got used to it, you know. And when I met him, man, he literally changed my life. He turned my life. I used to be homeless before I met him and everything, and he really, really helped me out to become, with the experience that I've had. I mean, with him, I've traveled about 10 different countries, you know, and then in those countries, all those cities, you know, so I have an extensive performing background through him, because I was his opening act. And I learned a lot through him. I got all my clout through him. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be where I am right now. So I definitely owe Pablo a lot, you know. We don't talk that much anymore because we kind of started doing my own thing and stuff. But but we stay in communication. But you know, not like we used to live together. You know, we toured together and we lived together. But then I moved here to just try something different in my career.
You travelled all around Europe together. How much did you have to alter your routine between countries? Did you have to change your terminology or pace or references?
All the time. I was like, wondering how I was going to do it. So what I did was, when I got to Norway, because we did Norway, Finland, Sweden, and Denmark, right? So when I got to Norway, in the first city in Norway, what I did was I took one of my jokes, and then I learned a couple of their words, and I incorporated it in my jokes, right? Because I do a joke in English about how in Miami nobody speaks English, and I go to 7-Eleven and I try to order a hot dog, but the guy's he's talking to me in Spanish, and I say like "¿Qué pasó?" in Spanish. But what I did was I said, what if I just went ahead and I did that same joke, and I just incorporated the Norwegian language. So I did it. I go, you people in Norway, I thought everybody spoke English, but apparently not everybody does. I went to 7-Eleven and asked for a hot dog, and the guy was like, "Basahan," which means, what did he say? And let me tell you, when I said that damn near got a standing ovation. That was my first joke, and everybody was clapping hard because they were so shocked that I took the time out to learn their language. So then I just kept that throughout the whole tour. I learned bits and pieces of their language, and I just incorporated my act, and they would freak out, man. They would just freak out. You got a Black American dude speaking their language and incorporating his joke. Now I get it why they were freak, but back then I didn't know. I was just doing it, and I was like, we were shocked. So then I just started just twisting you always got to twist, even in Australia, you got to twist the words around. I lost half my act moving to Australia, but it's all right. I just started all over again.
Is that a big thing in comedy, that you go and learn some of the local terminology in order to make it more...
You have to.
Relate it more to the crowd?
Absolutely, man. If you care about connecting with the audience, you need to learn where you're at. You need to respect that. You need to show them that you're fully aware of what's going on around you and still be able to be in your world with it. Like, you have to acknowledge the audience. You just can't be all about yourself. There's a time when you have to drift off and be yourself, but when you first come out, man, you don't have to, but it'll be very beneficial if you were able to engage the audience in dialogue, in a certain dialogue, you know? When I come out to Melbourne, I talk about being. When I come out to Sydney, I do a little bit about being in Sydney, and then I do it myself. You want them to like you first. Once they like you, man, you can't go wrong. Like, if they like you towards the middle of your bit, you could do a joke that doesn't work, but they're like, oh well, it didn't work. Who cares? But if they don't like you, you do a joke that doesn't work, and they're ready to hate you. But if they do like you, you do a joke that doesn't work, and they're gonna forgive you and laugh anyway. They don't care. They don't even see that. Like Robert Williams said, they have to like you first. They like you first, and then you do your set.
And after about 10 years with Pablo, you moved out here to Melbourne. Comedy-wise, that seems like a risky move because America has a lot more outlets and opportunities for comedians. What was your mentality for this move?
My mentality as far as like moving here?
For moving to Australia when America has so many more opportunities for comedians in the media.
Well, does have more opportunities to get famous and to get paid. But over here has the same amount of opportunities. But you just gotta be diligent, and you gotta just know your niche. Fortunately for me, and I don't like this part about it. It's like I'm different. I'm a novelty act, so to speak. I'm an African American living here, and the thing about that is, but I also have jokes that work as well. I don't want to be known here because I'm an international act and I'm a foreigner and this and that. I use that, granted, because it works to get me bookings, But, like, if I was a Australian comedian here and I was trying to come up, man, I'd have to be really funny to actually to make it. I don't know, man. There's a lot more opportunities here, there's a lot more opportunities in America than there is Australia. But there's also, in my personal opinion, in my personal experience, there's the same opportunities here for me as well, And believe me when I tell you, every comic would love to do what I'm doing in America. They just don't make the commitment. But when I tell them I'm coming to Australia, it's like, whoa, I would love to do it. They all want to do that. They all want to do it. They all want to experience it, man. It's just the same way everybody wants to experience everybody wants to experience in America for a while,
And you've mentioned this a bit just a couple of minutes ago. You've been here for about 2 years. How have you altered your onstage persona or act to adapt to the Aussie crowd?
Well, you know what, man? Moving here, it allowed me to reinvent myself. I got far away as I could from home. I reinvented myself, and I could become anything that I wanted to be you know, and then that's what I aspire to be. But then the Aussie audience, because they don't know me and because they watch so much television, they see a Black American and it's like, oh, that's like Eddie Murphy or that's like Chris Rock or whatever it is. So they pretty much let me do whatever it is that I'm gonna do, and they just go with it, thinking, well, that's the way they do it. You know, there's no like I can't go wrong unless I say something really offensive. But it's like they're very accepting here. They really enjoy the show. I don't know, man. To be honest with you, I feel it was a better move to move here. I feel like it was much easier to be here. You know.
Have you mapped out a kind of path for yourself in the Australian comedy industry? Because, well, in my opinion, we don't have as many TV and radio opportunities as America or England for comedians. Did you have to spend more time trying to figure out how to merge into the Australian industry?
I'm still trying to figure that out, really. The thing is that when I first got here, I came here and I toured here before and during the comedy festivals, and in doing that, I made some connections. You know, so I had the connections before I came down here, and I came down here and I just contacted my connections, and then we just kept kept it going. And I got in with the Comics Lounge, which is in North Melbourne, which is the biggest club here in Australia, and performed there frequently. So I've been able to perform and just keep in, and I'm doing cruise ships, and then things just started happening one by one. It wasn't always fluent, but when I first started, it just took a while. You know, my fiance is here; she's Australian as well. You know, and I met her when I was touring, so that's another reason why I came down here to be with her. So it's like one of those things where, you just make it work. I don't know, man. You just make it work. It's just like that cheesy saying: if you believe in something, just do it, and it happens, man. You don't really think about, It's like that kid who's not scared to fall off a tree because he's a kid. He has no need. And that's how I am with this whole thing. I'm not fully aware of any dangers or any. I mean, I'm aware of how to be careful with risk, but I'm like a sponge, man. And I think with my experience, I mean, I've been doing it for about 20 years. So all that combined, you make it work for you, man. You make it work for you.
Was your fiance did she come and see one of your shows and that's how you met her?
Yes, she was in the front row in my 2011 year, and I was touring at the Forum, and she was in the front row. I didn't see her from the front row. She just told me she was in the front row. But I remember in the end, she told me, "Oh, you have a great job," and I'm selling DVDs, and she didn't buy one, but she bought the DVD of the other guy, Pablo. And I was like, "What is this?" And then we met and we started talking on Facebook, and things got really serious. And then then I had to make a decision of would I want to stay in America and continue, because I was doing fine in America. I was doing great. I was doing all right. But then I wanted to, in this business, man, you meet a lot of fake people. A lot of girls who they're trying to get with you because of who you are, your status, and blah blah blah. And so when you meet somebody that comes across as genuine, you don't choose who you fall in love with. It just happens. So then I had to make a decision, and then I made a decision to come over here and continue my career. It wasn't at first. It wasn't easy at first, but now, currently, it's working out very well.
I know you're not. Well, leading on from that, in trying to build a profile in Australia, a big part of that is social media. And I know you're not a big fan of social media, but do you see social media in your overall plan? Yeah,
if I get somebody to do it for me.
I'll do it.
Well, good. You're hired. I just don't. I know that's the way to do things, but I'm not good at social media, man. I always feel like I'll do a show, and if you like me, you'll find out about me. You'll find me. And I know that's a bad thing for the business aspect, but I just have a hard time saying fan, the word fan. 'Cause I don't feel like I have fans. Sounds too pretentious, and it's like, and social media is like, follow me and do this. I hate that. I hate trying to tell people what to do when they just want to do it naturally. You should just be able to see my show and find me. I don't want to have to. And then when you find me, I probably don't post anything. I'm really bad at that, man. And there's really. I know comedians who are so that's how Kevin Hart got big, social media. I know comedians who are so well at social media that they have a lot of work and a lot of stuff, and their comedy isn't all, their comedy is all right, but they're definitely have a lot of followers to social media. I don't have that type of management skills.
Well, once you get big enough, you can pay someone to do that for you. Unless you want me to do it now, we'll talk. The thing that's holding you back, and we've talked about this a lot on my show as well when you've been on a few times, from doing a festival show is the critics. What's going to help you overcome this almost fear of being critiqued by people who you don't know are critics?
Not having them in the room. No, here's the thing. I don't necessarily. It's like when I do the cruise shows, they have reviewers in the back, right? One time I did a show, and they had a reviewer in the back, and I actually got a little buzzed, and I went to the reviewer because I'm not supposed to ask him the night of the show. I'm like, so what did you think of my show? And he goes, oh, you need Australian jokes. You got to have Australian jokes. And I'm like, oh, you didn't see my show then, because my first 25 minutes is all Aussie jokes. So it's stuff like that, man. I hate the fact that someone who hasn't written a joke a day in their life can come up to you and just dictate and just critique you. And I don't want to be in a situation where I'm doing a festival show and then someone comes in and gives me a bad. Now listen, the chances of me having a bad review are very slim. But still, just having a bad review, don't review it. The crowd will. What is that going to do?
Publicity.
But publicity can be done. But it's like, okay, like people that see my show are going to go out and tell people how good it was, you know. And if I have a bad show, listen, it's to protect myself, and I'm not confident enough yet to have, because I've never done a festival show. If people want to come in and see me do 10 minutes or 15 minutes or 20 minutes at a normal comedy club, no problem. Review all you want, because I'm very confident in that. But to be reviewed for something that I haven't done before, why would I put myself in that situation? So it'd have to be after, like, I will let reviewers come in during the comedy festival run on maybe the last show or the second to last show, or later on when I figure it out, when I have a rhythm going on, not in the first day.
That's fair enough if you can control that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But then there's a thing where you can put on no reviewers. Tahir told me that the other day. You can have no reviewers on there. I think I'm gonna call my set, my comedy festival show, F the reviewers.
That's a bit cleaner than what Dave Chappelle's done.
What did he do?
Didn't he do like a whole song about F the police?
Oh, yes. F the reviewers.
Yeah. We've also talked about this, and this is really this is an interesting part of your mentality, is that you like making people laugh that aren't like you. And you said that's like old Asian women is one of the groups you mentioned on my show. What's the key to keeping your audience diverse?
Well, the old Asian women or the old white women, if I can get them, everybody else down from that is easy. Like, I can make somebody that's black laugh, they look like me. I can make somebody that's young laugh, they look like me. But people that are older, these are the people that when I walk into the streets, they hold onto their purse. These are people that when I walk into a store, they follow me around. You know, so if I can make them laugh, then I've touched everybody. You know, so if I was an older white person, I would be trying to make a young black guy laugh. You know, it's just the different dynamics. Yeah, it's easy to make someone who laughs who's like you, but it's hard to make someone laugh who you could tell you two have nothing in common other than your human features.
So what do you see as the keys to keeping your audience diverse, so you're not just attracting that one demographic?
Staying away from a target market audience. Like, I hate this whole, well, who is your audience? Man, everybody's my audience, man. Like, everybody who sits in front of me is going to laugh. I don't go after the young people. I don't go after the old people. I don't go after a particular ethnic group. I hate that. I hate the fact that that's the industry that's doing that nonsense. You have a target audience. You have to target this audience. What do I have to target them for? Old people need to laugh too, you know, and people, like, anybody's in front of me, and you have to be able to relate to people, you know, like I know about all types of different subjects, you know, or if not, I'll learn about it or we talk about it. You know, it's just the industry, man. Like, when I first started, they will only put me up in black rooms. They only make me do black things because I'm black. I'm like, it's so stupid. Comedy has no color, man. When people are laughing, they don't care about anything else than that, you know.
So before we get on to what's on for this year, give me some positivity. What do you like about stand-up comedy? What attracts you to gigs every night?
I just like the fact that someone can get up there and just tell jokes and people are willing to pay attention to them and actually willing to actually sit down and pay attention. Not so much pay for it, but actually pay attention to what you thought of. Something about that really makes me feel like, you know, wow, I can't believe people they're coming out. Like, they can joke with their friends, but they're coming to see you tell your jokes. That's amazing to me. And there are people out there who build places so people can go inside and listen to jokes. It's just crazy. For jokes. They're taking it so serious that they want to laugh really bad, so they go to a place where they know they're going to laugh. That's just amazing.
What's your ideal gig? What's that one gig you really, really, really want?
I'd like to come out to my own audience in a 1,000-seater. And my own audience is like just everybody in there to see me. That's my ideal gig. So I can go ahead and I could do the jokes that I really want to do, and have the fact that they know me and like me work for the joke itself. Like maybe at the gala, some just for laughs, whatever it is. Maybe one of those when they already know me. Like that's the best feeling in the world. When they come out, everybody already knows you. You can just be yourself. When they don't know you, you have to kind of introduce yourself. And introducing yourself, you take on a certain piece of inferiority because you're trying to cater to them. And then eventually you get them to like you, and then you start doing what you want to do. But to do that for the whole show, just doing what you want to do, that'll be great. That's my ideal show. You go on stage, and I like the music to play for at least a minute and a half before I even do the jokes. Just stand and dance for a minute and a half. Just look cool. Like, yeah.
Can you dance?
Of course, man. I can dance. I can't swim. All those stereotypes are true.
Right, can you jump?
Yeah, of course, man. Of course. If you have a dog behind me, I'll jump.
Righto. So what's on for 2016? You've talked about going to see all different comedians at the comedy festival this year. Do you have a short list of ones you want to see, and what other gigs have you got in store?
I'm actually doing the festival and at the lounge during the festival time. Cruise ships all year long, one or two a month. And headlining spots at different comedy clubs, man. It's just, I would like to say television, but television is, I haven't seen any openings where I can get on television. I haven't crossed that market yet, but I've achieved everything I wanted to achieve and more. So I'm at a plateau right now. I'm just trying to see what my next move is. But I think television would be nice, but I don't know how to get on there without an agent. So maybe I'll get an agent. I don't know.
Got to get an agent. Are you going to go see a couple of gigs at the comedy festival?
Yeah, but just random ones. I don't have any ones. Because what I want to do is I want to get a smorgasbord of them. I want to go to the ones that suck. I want to go to the ones that do well, and I don't want to go with any predetermined notion of how the show's going to be. I just want to see them do 45 minutes by themselves and how to get through it, or 30 minutes by themselves and see how to get through it. That's all I want to do, because it encourages me for me to do mine.
Yeah.
Because I'll be honest, just doing the 45 minutes by yourself shits me. Or it bothers me.
You can say whatever you want. We're pre-recording this.
Oh, good. Fuck yeah, man.
That's going in the interview.
Yeah.
Finally, I'm reluctant to ask you about this, but you probably have a lot of places that people can find you physically, not so much virtually. Where can people find you?
In jail. No, they can find me
Jesus.
At a hostel. No.
Yeah.
They can find me at they can catch me at the Comics Lounge, North Melbourne. So I told you that's 26 Errol Street. I have my own room that I run in Brunswick called the Brunny, Funny at the Brunny, fortnightly on Mondays at the Brunswick Hotel. Great show. We have a DJ. We don't have an MC. So it's like a deaf comedy jam type of thing. It's pretty cool. I perform at the Shisha Lounge in Springvale every once in a while. You can catch me on, if you ever do a P&O cruise, I'll be on there as well. And I'm with the Wild Wogs tour, and we're with Tahir, Gab Rossi, and George Caprianis. Got my hands in a lot of things. So
how long is that tour going for? Is that going all through the comedy festival?
Dude, yeah, it is. In the Fringe. When we first did the show, it was just supposed to be like a thing for Christmas, like last year Christmas, and they just tried it, and people just kept buying the show, and just kept touring and touring. So we've been going for over a year now, and we're going all the way through April this year. So this is a thing that we're just doing, and it just started off as like a one-time, 1-week thing. Now a year later, we're still doing it. So I'm very fortunate to be with those guys. Those are the best guys you can work with. I actually really, really, really enjoy it. From the tour manager to the performers, everybody, we all understand each other very well. Like our temperaments, we get each other. I'm the quiet one because I'm the least popular one. I'm the one that gets paid the least. You know, I don't mind that at all. I'm just happy to be hanging with the crew. So I'm very, you know, I don't call any shots. I just do whatever they ask, and they're cool. So.
And one other thing that you do is you do stand-up comedy workshops at the Comics Lounge, which I want to get to sometime soon. When is your next workshop?
They usually give me a month in advance, because what they do is they switch every Tuesday they have a different comedian do it. So they'll either ask me the week before or the day before, or usually a week before, and then I'll post it on Facebook. But when I do it, I'll send you a personal message, and I'll put it on Facebook as well. But I'll send you a personal message so you can definitely come back.
Done. I already have like a couple of pages worth of content, so I've probably got to cut it down a little bit.
Now, mind you, if you do another different ones, the different ones, they're ones that other comedians, when they do, they just talk the whole time. So I'm the person I'm one of them that actually have you go on stage and perform, and I work with you from the stage. I don't just talk to you. There's no point in doing that. You need to experience. I feel like you need to experience what's going to happen, and we could talk and see where you went wrong. And it's not going to make you a star overnight, but you get the feeling of what's happening and what's going on, and I think that's important.
Is that something that's popular in America, doing stand-up workshops, or is that an Australian thing?
Yeah, I had 3 different classes in America, but in America, I kept the class for the whole year, or for the whole 3 months. Over here, you just do it, go in one place and you do it, and then but like I had 3 different classes in America, and every 3 months I shift classes, and then it paid very well, So hey, I did it. The only thing, sometimes you don't want to do it because like some people just can't. You want to tell them, hey man, maybe you shouldn't follow your dreams.
Yeah, don't take my job. No worries. Have a great afternoon. Thank you for doing the interview, and I'll talk to you soon.
All right, thank you, brother.
Bye.